we successfully filed an appeal in the Supreme Court this morning under SC 387 of 2023. The net effect of that appeal is to suspend a High Court judgment.
Hi guys, hello everybody. So we are back in the building. So welcome to my podcast from Beyond Censored. Excited as hell. Boom.
All right, this is just me who feels like as a community we need to find each other at some point. We need to understand that we have only one enemy, and the enemy that we have is a system. It's actually not individuals. Sometimes we get angry. I may be angry. Let's say I woke up today and I'm angry with my brother in his own PF, or they're also angry with their brother in Citizen Coalition for Change, or they're angry with an independent Saviour Kasukuwere, or so many independents that we have currently. These people are not our enemies. The enemy that we have right now today, which is an elephant in the room, it's a system that we inherited from Smith's regime. But I wanted to read this tweet before I proceed. It was written by Ibo Mandaza, a very strong tweet. He sent out a message that was so strong and powerful. He said that Job Scholar and Jacob Ngarivima are still under incarceration as political prisoners is not only a scandal of great proportions, but an indictment on those who purport to be in charge of this country. Never thought we would do worse than the Rhodesian regime. We will do worse than in a Rhodesian regime. Guys, this is like 43 years after independence, and we're still stuck with strategies of the past. The very same strategies of Smith: incarcerate people, abduct people, some of them are being thrown in acid. We fight violence. What an embarrassment. I saw a video yesterday where there was fighting Chitumbus. I could not begin to fathom that in 2023, we don't even know how to resolve things around the table. But before I move forward, I want you guys to really take a listen at the interview that he had with Newsroom, trying to really get or give out a glimpse of truth from Saviour Kasukuwere's ban. Take a listen.
So people see Kasukuwere more or less as a return match against Mnangagwa. More than that, given the response ever since he announced his candidature for the presidential election, there's evidence that he has a big following within ZANU-PF, or more than that, that there is a very strong forces opposed to Mnangagwa within the ZANU-PF. And this explains in part largely the glee with which the court ruling was greeted yesterday. If it were not for that, then one would have expected the ZANU-PF to have been rather benign or even impartial in the light of the ruling by the court yesterday. But they elated at it, so that betrays a given interest or concern that Kasukuwere would indeed dent Emmerson's political fortunes come the elections.
Because that leads to the next question: what are his prospects of success?
Vis-a-vis the Supreme Court?
Yes, please.
Yes, I think you'll get through on the merits of the case, and given that what is in the public domain, the fact that he is a registered voter, and to be removed off the register, it's a whole process under the Electoral Act. We'd have had to have received a letter from the ZEC informing of that, and required to respond before he was removed. And secondly, we have no evidence at all so far, neither in the court ruling nor in the public domain, that Kasukuwere was not ordinarily resident in Zimbabwe. The issue is disputed, and more important, the ruling itself yesterday went a bit too far, in my view, in terms of prescribing that he should not campaign inside or outside Zimbabwe. But of course, as you know, the appeal has been entered to the Supreme Court, and things remain as they are till the Supreme Court ruling. And given that our own observation that the the extent to which ZEC accepted his nomination and subsequently gazetted it is evidence that ZEC would have done its own due diligence. Our observation is that the harassment of Kasukuwere by the public media, the ZANU-PF, by the securocrats, has to do more with ensuring that he doesn't have enough time to campaign before the election. And it was clear from us that the ruling yesterday came rather as a shock, because for all intents and purposes, the ZEC position was firm enough, even though in the ruling by the judge yesterday, there was mention of ZEC having stated that they would go along with the court ruling. It's a very strange situation when ZEC itself was one of the respondents. Nevertheless, the point is that all said, the campaign, or Kasukuwere's campaign, has already begun. It has already impact, and it's clear that if he were allowed to, which I think he still is able to enter the race, he will dent Emmerson Mnangagwa's fortunes tremendously, immensely, if not fatally. But also to mean almost certainly that there will be a runoff, because if Kasukuwere gets just nearly 100,000 votes, it's enough to force a runoff. But the speculation is that he will get at least 200,000, 300,000 votes as things stand at the moment.
Guys, we can all agree that there definitely be something behind all these legal proceedings that we are facing today. First and foremost, ZEC qualified him, gazetted their candidates, and he was one of the candidates. Then later on we hear that there is one of Mangwana's son who's coming through and saying he does challenge Mr. Saviour Kasukuwere's legitimacy to run as a president. And I'm sitting on the other end, I'm like, I'm here, I support Citizen Coalition for Change. I'm sure we also have brothers and sisters who support different parties or different independent candidates. We never heard them challenging maybe Nelson Chamisa's candidates, or challenging Musha, or challenge Omar Linda Masara, whatever the case may be. But there's only one man that have drawn people's attention, and his name is Saviour Kasukuwere. People ask the question, why? But he's saying it's because ZANU-PF knows that he's going to grab quite a huge chunk from their people. I mean, that's what competition is about. Competition is about, are you loved or you're not loved? You know, and you can't force people to vote for you. No, if they don't want you, it is what it is. Life goes on. And I think we need to get to a point where, guys, we do what's right, not for ourselves, but for the betterment of our nation. When we start pulling out individualism and understand that we have a people to feed, we have a community to protect, we have a leaders to defend, I think that's what life is all about. But anyway, you know what? Saviour could not let this pass. You went in to challenge the judgment and then filed an appeal in the High Court. Sorry, the appeal in the Supreme Court to challenge his ban. So I would like you guys to take a listen at what his lawyer had to say. Her name is Jacqueline. Take a listen.
Applicants did not prove their case, and there is no basis for the court to have found as it did, and we are in the process of appealing. But whilst we're in the process of appealing, we also would like to appreciate Zimbabweans and people from many walks of life for the support they've given us, for the overwhelming support they've given us. This is about the right of the people of Zimbabwe to vote for a candidate of their choice, and that right has been compromised, and the court has gone further than just compromising or disenfranchising President Kasukuwere from exercising his right to participate in these elections as a presidential candidate. It has disenfranchised a lot of Zimbabwe. It has far-reaching consequences in that if you have not been residing in your constituency for a period of 18 months, as was ruled, then you are deemed to have been removed from the voters' roll. What this means is that if you have been working even in Harare, in DHI registered as a voter in Bulawayo, you cannot then go back to Bulawayo and vote because you are going to be said to have been outside of your constituents for a period of 18 months. That is regrettable, and that is a wrong interpretation of the law, which we hope that an upper court will reverse. The application itself has been filed. However, I think tomorrow is when we'll be having the official position from the courts.
All right. What's your argument towards that?
We have gone into the depth of the judgment itself to attack it to its very roots, because we feel that it has no foundation, either factually or at law, and that a proper court of appeal will turn it aside. This is the very gist of our appeal, that before the court there was no evidence to prove that President Saviour Kasukuwere has been outside of this country for a period which is longer than 18 months, or that he has been residing outside of his constituency for a period which is over 18 months. That was not proven, and as such there was no basis to declare that the nomination of President Saviour Kasukuwere is now in void. There was absolutely no basis at law or factually that was placed before the court, and we are outraged by this judgment. We met all the requirements. We met all the requirements at law as provided for by the Constitution and by the Electoral Act. And what baffles us is that whereas the applicant had a plethora of remedies afforded to him by the Electoral Act, has chosen this route, and that the High Court itself has allowed itself to be abused by upholding such an untenable position. We are going to be forging ahead, battling for President Saviour Kasukuwere to appear on the ballot come 23rd of August 2023. And we know that this is a political gimmick. Whilst it may seem like it is the law taking its course, this is a political gimmick which shows that Mr. Emmerson Mnangagwa feels threatened by the presence of President Saviour Kasukuwere on that ballot. He will have him removed from that ballot at any cost, including issuing dubious judgments which cannot be sustained at law. As soon as he announced that he is going to be running for elections, we have seen a lot of legal threats being issued against him, and one of them is the one which emanated in the judgment today. We have seen that they were threatening to arrest him, even though they knew that there was no basis for him to be arrested. So you can see from the reaction that the regime is panicking, that the government of Emmerson Mnangagwa is panicking, and they are there to abuse the state apparatus in order for them to disenfranchise President Saviour Kasukuwere, and in order for them to deprive Zimbabweans the right for them to vote for the candidate of their choice. Yes, indeed, he is a registered voter. His name appears in the voters' roll. There is a procedure where one would want to seek to have a voter removed from the voters' roll. That procedure was not followed. The applicant chose a strange route that they adopted, and it is amazing, or it is confounding, that a court of the stature of the High Court can make such a ruling disregarding all the provisions of the law in order to deprive President Kasukuwere of his right to stand as a presidential candidate. Zimbabweans, we are not giving up. We are fighting this battle. We know that the system is compromised. We know that they will be using state apparatus to disenfranchise you Zimbabweans and depriving you of a right to vote for the candidate of your choice. But we are not going down. We are fighting, and we are confident that at the end of the day, justice should prevail, and that President Kasukuwere should be allowed to participate as a presidential candidate. If Mr. Emmerson Mnangagwa was confident of his win, then there would be no need for this.
You know, what can we say? If I am in a competition and what I can do is to find some tactics to stop another competitor, it means that I feel threatened, you know. That's just my tag. Like, in generality, that's my tag. So a message is wrong already, I don't know, but at the end of the day, what's the fancy about? You know, there's so many. Why are they not challenging Chamisa? Why are they not challenging so many independent candidates? Why only Kasukuwere? You know, guys, at the end of the day, I think we have to understand that this is not about us as individuals. This is about the growth and the greatness and the power and the success of our nation is the Zimbabwean people. That's just my talk, my take, and my mantra. I'm a person who cannot wait to see Zimbabwe free. And when I say to see Zimbabwe free, is when we are able to exude our talents and explore our gifts and be able to share love where there's no intimidation, where there's no violence. And I'm not saying we should all be the same, but there's that love, that brotherly love, that unity that we've always had. You know, that brotherhood that was so strong. Together we all facing so much selfish people. That's just my concern and my worry. Guys, tell me what you think in the comment section below. But as for me, I'm saying no. Let Mr. Saviour Kasukuwere run as a president. What's the fuss? The competition is there. All we want is the greater president at the end. Whoever the people choose to be the president of Zimbabwe, we're going to support, we will believe, we'll work with. That's what it's all about. It's competition time. Please like, share, comment. Until next time, I love you all and God bless you. Bye for now.